Radar Reacts. Microsoft has finally unveiled its new console, and it's called the Xbox One.
I don't think anybody guessed that was what it was going to
I'm
be
Hollander Cooper. Here with me is
Henry Gilbert.
Ryan Telgenik.
And we just got done watching the 1 hour long Microsoft unveil thing, and
It was. I think it was exactly what we thought it would be. I mean, we said from the beginning that
it was what we pessimistically thought it would be.
right. Well, we
In my
said that the
cynical
Xbox the reveal would be this is your new media machine and it does everything. And guess what they
Here-
did?
here-
Here's your new media
Here are some
machine. It does
20-somethings
everything.
playing the Xbox, looking cool. I'm going to call my grandmother and talk about
Well, yeah,
Game
with
of
that-
Thrones. Hi, Grandma. Bloop, 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 bloop. We have Skype. Like,
yeah, with that
there was a
intro-
solid 20 minutes before they mentioned video games.
Yeah.
That was a hyperbolic intro where they're like, we did everything and now we're changing everything again. It's alive. The way they said alive like 3 times, like, is it Xbox Alive?
I thought the same
Like-
thing. I kept
Yeah.
thinking that. So the new system's coming out later this year. They haven't said a price.
Right.
Spec wise, pretty similar to the PS4.
Yep.
You got me. I have the specs right here. You got 8 gigs of RAM, an octo-core CPU, 500 gig hard drive, Blu-ray drive, which is important for a reason we'll get to in a minute, wireless, Wi-Fi, HDMI in and out, which, again, we'll get to in a minute why that's important, and USB 3.0. The reason that it
Very cool.
has a Blu-ray player, besides playing games, and HDMI in is because despite being a PS4 in terms of hardware, it is also 100% meant to be your media machine.
Right. So
It's
then
your new cable box.
now
You
you
plug
can,
your cable box into the HDMI.
right. So that'll stream your Comcast Xfinity right through your Xbox, and you can.
I like the look of the new guide system to show here's all those TV shows, and
It looks
you just say,
almost exactly like the
Yeah.
Go to
Xfinity.
But I do think when you it'll work with Comcast. He named Comcast, and I think
HBO was on
HBO,
there.
Time
but-
Warner, probably.
But how's this gonna? They've always had a problem with integrating this stuff in Europe, like with Sky TV and BBC and all
Right.
that stuff.
Right.
haven't
So
they
I
had
wonder
that?
how-
Haven't they had Sky TV support for a
They
few years? in Europe,
eventually
though?
got them signed up for the 360, so maybe that'll carry over.
Yeah.
but,
So they showed off very few games.
Very few.
We saw Remedy's
took
next
30
game.
minutes,
What was
I
Remedy's
think.
next game?
Quantum
Break.
Break.
Which I have a theory on that.
Yeah.
Because they just showed some weird, creepy little girl in a. Because they mentioned that it's going to be like a TV series.
Yeah.
They danced around that, but
Yeah.
they showed a boat appear out of nowhere and then crash through a bridge, and then they said that time is relative or something. I think my
Time
guess
is the fire in
I-
which we all burn.
Ooh. My guess, the Philadelphia experiment, which is a conspiracy theory / ghost story about a boat that was in Philadelphia that they used experiments on, that the entire boat disappeared into time.
Weird.
That's like a weird kind of
Huh.
actual conspiracy theory. I bet you, and it's considered it's referred to by quantum theorists as like a great quantum event. So
It just seemed weird to me. They were like, it's the new game from the guys who brought you the shooting action of Max Payne and Alan Wake, and then they start with live action. It's actors.
Yeah.
But wait, what?
Also, we saw Forza Motorsport 5.
Forza?
which looks. I'm sorry, it looks
It-
exactly like 4.
I can't
It
tell
does.
anymore. I can't
Fight,
tell.
and EA showed off a bunch of games,
Bunch of sports stuff.
bunch of sports stuff.
Bunch
So I'm
of
super
lies.
excited. I don't trust those videos.
EA invented the bullshot with I think the 360 reveal 8 years ago.
Before that, when I was looking through images recently, and there were images on a server somewhere, like official EA images of an SSX game from 12 years ago, and the name of the file was SSX_touched up. Like EA, I mean, they've been better about it recently, but EA at the Xbox reveal showed off the Madden trailer, which ended up being complete nonsense.
Yeah.
And they said this is what the next gen games will look like on their new engine.
Right.
But that's not saying that this is really what they'll look like.
Well,
Yeah.
and of course the big game reveal, Call of Duty Ghosts,
Which,
on the brand new engine, which looks a lot like the old engine.
yeah, they kept doing this thing where they'd be like, here's a dog in the last game. Here's a dog in the new game. The textures are a little better. What's up, guys? How you doing? Here's
like
a dog.
a couple
You
of
pet the
faces
dog.
didn't even look that much better at all. The arms did, and the hands.
It kind of
did.
looked like they
think-
were using the best character models from Modern Warfare 3 versus the average character. Like, they showed off Price. Is it Price or Price?
Price.
Who has that awesome modeled mustache.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
just looks so good. And they showed off a new character that didn't look any better.
Well,
The
I mean,
hands
I
look good.
think once we're actually seeing it in action, it'll look
Sure,
considerably
sure.
better, especially if we look side by side kind of.
But this definitely played into that rumor ahead of time that said Microsoft is unprepared for the next gen, and they don't first party wise. Like they made a statement. They said we've got 15 exclusives getting ready in our first party. Like
Yeah, they have
didn't
15
anything.
exclusives by the end of within
by
the
the end of the
first
first
year,
year.
which I mean that's a game
That's
a
a
month.
good
That's
number.
nice, but
It's better than the Wii U has been averaging so far.
at the same time, when at Sony's press conference they showed off like 7 exclusives already.
And just back to back, just bam, bam, bam. The only thing I can, like, the most positive way of looking at this is Microsoft is holding back their exclusives to show more of them at E3.
Which
Yeah,
is
that's
almost,
best case
and I know it's going to sound, and before you write your angry comments, like we're totally hating on this. We're super excited for the Xbox
Yeah, of
One.
course.
It's just compared to the way Sony put games first. Sony came out of the gate with like, listen, we fucked up last time. Like, man, did we fuck up. So many fuck-ups beyond what you expected.
Mm-hmm.
We figured it out by the end, and we're going to continue that upward climb.
Whereas this felt kind of like the opposite spectrum of that, where they're like, we gotta
Like,
do something.
you
cool.
guys love yelling Xbox play Game of Thrones, right? Let's build a console around that. Like it's gonna and the controller was shown off. and
Yeah, I think it looks
like,
fine.
So, but I think I still think it doesn't look. It looks kind of weird.
Yeah, it does. But
Like
I mean,
the PS4
anything-
controller when they showed it off, it's like, oh, that's just kind of a DualShock with a pad in the middle. That's kind of like I can understand. It essentially looked like a slightly upgraded one.
Yeah.
This one looks like a third-party version of the regular Xbox 360 controller.
Well, I mean, now that we're used to certain gamepads for the past 7 years, anything that they would have shown would.
That's true, and I
Would
think they
look
said
a
it
little
has
strange.
rumble in the triggers or something.
Well, they also are saying that the new Kinect will watch your controller just as much as you. Like it sounded like pretty similar to what they were saying that the new PlayStation Eye will do with the colored thing on your PS4 controller.
Right.
But also, just the design of the new system is, I don't know, it's such sharp edges.
Yeah,
to me.
yeah, it's
Like,
very boxy.
It's very boxy, like in a very 90s way. Like my immediate thought was like the 3DO. Like
Yeah,
one
and
of
if
the
you look at
first-
the back of the box, because it's meant to be a media hub, I think I counted 9 or 10 different ports.
Yeah.
So,
But it does have built-in Wi-Fi
yeah.
too, which
How
is
about
good.
the Halo thing?
Yeah, that was when
That's
I
really exciting.
So
That
did
is
you guys watch
exciting.
Forward Unto Dawn? Because it was actually
Some of
really
it,
well
yeah.
done. Like
I
it was good.
now wish I had watched more of it, but
Yeah.
that they got Spielberg involved. It's
Yeah,
like
Spielberg's going to be doing a live-action Halo series specifically for Xbox.
Yeah,
for
I'm
Xbox,
excited. I think it's gonna
Yeah,
be cool.
that sounds awesome.
It sounds like they're just starting their own HBO, and they're like, we're gonna have our own series that you have to buy into.
You have to spend buy a $500
probably.
or so console.
Other interesting news though, like that actually we found out almost right before we came in this room was the fact that Xbox games will have to be installed to the one's hard drive and will be tied to your Xbox Live account. If you want to install that same game on your buddy's system, they will have to pay a fee.
Yeah, well,
to
maybe,
unlock
maybe.
only to tie it to their
There's
account.
the
We don't
phrase
know.
pre-owned fee.
Right, we
going
don't know
around.
yet if you can just put a disc in and do minimal install and then play it off the
You know what
disc
might
and the hard
work?
drive. That
what if
might
what
be
if you
possible.
like go to your friend's house, put the disc in, and you know how they've sped up how long it takes to log in?
Yeah.
Maybe if you're logged in,
Yeah, it
it
could be.
will work. But and they've confirmed no always online.
Right.
The only always online thing that there might be is they said it's up to the developers, which doesn't mean that developers can choose if they want to be always online. That's essentially like, yeah, if you're making an MMO, of course, that's probably
Well,
what
what they
means.
said was, they have their cloud computing service, so essentially developers can choose to use the cloud system to help compute some of their stuff.
They used that same bullshit to justify SimCity, though.
It's
And
basically
SimCity,
yeah,
and then
exactly.
you go to the back of your computer and you unplug your Ethernet, and for 5 minutes, SimCity runs without a problem because that was a blatant lie.
I mean, yeah. So that's what Microsoft said though. We're not always online, but developers can choose to use this if they want to.
yeah, they did say that they're leveraging the power of Xbox Live and expanding Xbox Live, so that's going to be a bigger deal. So I do believe it more than I believed it with.
Right.
They use the term persistent worlds and bigger matches than ever, which I feel is just code for like there will be MMOs on this thing.
Yeah, I mean there were some on the 360, but it always felt
Yeah.
like they were limping through it.
No, they weren't really ready for it. They also I'm curious what they're really doing with achievements because I'm a big achievement junkie,
sure
so
are.
I'm interested in it. But they're like, oh, they're going to be dynamic and changing, and
That just means they're going to flash
they'll-
up on your screen more
They'll
often.
tell the story of a player, not just what they did. And I was like,
Henry woke up today, and before he drank his coffee, he decided he really needed that
And
achievement. in
did
Halo.
we mention yet backwards compatibility? Not a thing.
Apparently, though,
Yeah.
here's my theory, and you scowled at me when I said this
Ugh.
earlier. You know that HDMI in? I'm gonna be the first one to say that HDMI in on the back of that system. You plug your Xbox 360 into that HDMI in, and now you're using it. So
Gross.
you're gonna be able to put your Xbox 360 on top of your Year 1, plug the HDMI in, bam, backwards compatibility.
I don't
That's
think Q1
synergy.
can take all that heat. But
Probably not. They said it's gonna be quiet
Yeah,
instead of the freaking like car engine that is the Xbox 360.
I don't want to lose all those XBLA games, and I mean,
You're
I
gonna
won't
lose all
lose
those
them.
You're gonna
yeah,
lose
I know.
them. They're gone.
It's an excuse.
They're gone,
to buy,
Henry.
It's an excuse to buy Pac-Man again.
Yes.
So real quick before we go, what did you guys think Xbox versus Sony conference, Microsoft versus Sony conference?
So I was a Microsoft guy this whole previous generation. My PS3 was the thing I played. The PS3 was essentially the Wii to me. I played exclusives on it.
Yeah.
And so far, I mean, Microsoft has another chance to wow us. They have E3, but press conference to press conference for pre-E3, Sony destroyed Microsoft.
Yeah.
Microsoft came out with the same out-of-touch to gamers message they've been toting for 4 years now, which is, here's a bunch of attractive people sitting in front of cameras enjoying games you don't care about.
Yeah.
And except they didn't even have the games part this time.
Now they're just enjoying the TV you don't care about.
Xbox, please record this television. Please record New Girl for me. Thanks. That's
Yeah.
essentially what they showed off.
I was just used to. My fear was that they would just once again go like, here's how it's an entertainment system. Here, it was just like what they did at CES, I think last year, where they had no games. It was just the entertainment things
Which
of it.
is
and
important.
why your mom would buy it.
It's
which
important,
is-
but that stuff can be sent out in a press release after the fact. Nobody needs to have a demonstration as to how Netflix works, but we do need to see what next gen games look like, and we haven't.
Yeah.
At E3, they better bring games, like
Well, it's-
actual
And I'm
playable
I'm
demos.
confident they will.
It's interesting because Microsoft has another chance to wow us, but so does Sony, and I think they both know that this is going to be a very crucial
So does
part.
Nintendo.
So does Nintendo. But yeah, definitely check back, especially E3's coming up. So
Yeah,
we'll
we have,
tons of new info.
we would spend another 20 minutes talking about this, but we have to go right about it instead on Games Radar, where you should go because we have analysis of everything, editorials analyzing stuff, videos showing off video stuff if you like using your eyes instead of your brain. So yeah, that's it. Be sure to check back on Games Radar for all of the Xbox One
Oh.
Xbox
news
One.
that you apparently care about.